It's Friday at the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games in Madison, Wisconsin. Day 2 of competition. Appreciate you sticking with us today, everybody, here on the Rogue Iron Game. The whole gang is here. Chase Ingraham, Manny Sakamoto, and Dan Bailey. We are now through 5 events for the teams, and we talked about it before we went to break. I mean, it looks like right now that, this is a fight for second. What do you think?
To me, it's almost they're just being mean. They're just being mean fair to everybody. I mean, it's like CrossFit is like, we're gonna do it fun. It's like, no, we're not. We're just, that snail might as well have been a steamroller.
Mm-hmm. What now is it gonna take for anybody to catch Mayhem Freedom?
You're waiting for Mayhem to make a mistake and then capitalize, really. With the gap that's there right now, as long as Mayhem is consistently in those top 5 spots, they can probably stretch a bad finish down to 10th, anywhere down there. It's still gonna be really tough for any other team to catch them.
And the theme with them, faster as you get through the event. What does that say about their preparation for the CrossFit Games?
It says that they're really prepared. They know each other as a team. They know how they have to attack a workout. And for all of the unknowns and ungivens that they've had this year, it just shows how well they have trained as a team, that all the work that they've put in, they can trust on each other and what they know about each other and how to handle events like this.
Unofficially, CrossFit Krypton is going to trail them now by 91 points. I mean, you get beyond 100, and now that's almost insurmountable. What chance do they have? I don't know if they're going to catch it, but let's talk about them just hanging on to second place. What do they have to do or have to worry about in order for that to happen?
They got to stop worrying about Mayhem. And I think everybody does right off the bat. So if you're Krypton and you're sitting in second place, don't look at the leaderboard in terms of first and second. Do worry about the people behind you, but handle the things you need to handle. Andy, I think you said it best, and Rick said it too, is that they trained for this. They didn't put a team together for this. They also put it together and train for it. And I think a lot of these super teams are finding out for the first time is that it's not about who you put together to be a great team, but you have to put in the work as all 4 to be successful here at the games.
Even on something like the snail there at the end, you wouldn't think that there's a whole lot of communication or teamwork involved, but you notice, Andy, you pointed out the faster transitions that they went from those male-female pairs to pushing it, that got them the lead, was the transitions.
And I think if you take Mayhem out of the picture, CrossFit Krypton is amazing. They're doing really well, they're holding their own, and that's what Krypton has to do right now. They have to take Mayhem out of the picture, they have to look at themselves as a team, trust in what they're doing, know that they're doing really well, and just keep doing that.
You guys ready for another surprise? We have individual event 4.
Ooh. All right.
Oh.
Let's go.
Let's show it. Let's see what we got here for individual event 4. Okay, it's a sprint couplet, a 172-foot sled push, bar muscle ups, 18 for the men, 15 for the women, and then another sled push. Okay then. Wow. Don't know the weight on the sled, but that's going to be nasty.
Yeah. Really nasty.
Yeah, the weight on the sled will be the big factor there in terms of the fact that they say it's a sprint. I'm assuming it's going to be a very little amount of weight. I may or may not have had some experience with this very event earlier this week.
It's empty and it weighs 90 pounds.
Yeah, I can tell you right now that this is going to be like the equivalent of an all-out quarter mile, an all-out 800-meter run. You're going to feel really bad at the end of it. This is going to be an incredibly, there's no thought process. There's no how do I game it. It's go, 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 all gas pedal.
Right off the bat, I think about 2014 sled push event. They bring out this tiny little sled.
That sprint sled.
I mean, you'll talk to athletes to this day, and it was the most devastating event they had ever done, and it lasted less than 30 seconds.
Right, absolutely.
So that one's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Oh, yeah.
So we have bar muscle ups sandwiched by a sprint sled push, and the time cap is only 6 minutes. So that one's going to go pretty fast. So we're going to call the whole thing. Want to welcome everybody in at in a second. We will do that. Now, we want to welcome everybody in who's watching us here live at the venue in Madison, Wisconsin. I hope you guys are having a great time, enjoying day number 2, staying cool, checking out Vendor Village. Definitely come by here to the Rogue tent, say hi to us. A lot of fun things going on here as well. But let's get back now to the keys to that event. I know we just saw it, but you said, look, just go fast. But is there anything that you can do to maybe give yourself a little bit of an advantage here if you think that you're not someone who can just sprint through this whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's shut your eyes and just deal with the pain. It really is. I mean, for the bar muscle ups, the amount that's on there, that's not a super challenging amount for these athletes. I don't know how much fatigue will play into that in terms of the events they've already done. But I know we saw 18 up there for the men. That should be something that is unbroken. And really, your transition times between the sled, the bar muscle-ups, back to the sled, don't think about it. There's no thinking here. There's not a whole lot of skill into pushing a sled. Get on that thing and just get your legs churning.
Isn't that crazy? For Dan to say it's unbroken, I'm thinking, would I break that up into sets of 3 or 2?
Well, singles from the start then. All right, great. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, of course, yeah, right, unbroken,
right.
absolutely.
Yes.
That's unbroken. The men, we saw them earlier today, finished up that ruck run. Let's talk about them really fast and what's kind of gone on. But James Newberry, at the beginning of the day, 3rd place. He's unofficially crept up to 2nd right now. What's going right for him?
Everything is going right for James Newberry. This is the best start to the CrossFit Games he has ever had. He has all top 10 finishes, a 6th, a 4th, and a 5th place finish. He looks so good so far in the competition. I like this next workout for him. I'd love to see him have a successful day too, and kind of give these guys a run for their money.
Meanwhile, Chandler Smith is ping-ponging all over the leaderboard. He started in 2nd, he's down to 18th, he's up to 4th now. I mean, and I think if there were any doubts in anybody's minds about whether or not this guy was legit, he's certainly answering them here.
Yeah, absolutely. With that ruck run, he came in, ended up 4th place finish, got him 94 points, bumped him way back up that leaderboard. I like this event for him. I think he's going to do well. Again, not a whole lot of skill, more of just grunt work, push, suffer, and get it over with. So I think he's going to be able to gain some ground or maintain his position, definitely away from the cuts and hopefully keeping him somewhere in the top 5.
Meanwhile, on the women's side of things, man, Tia Toomey did not like not wearing the white jersey. She went out and snatched it back. But look, it's super close, unofficially on the top of the overall leaderboard. Toomey has the lead. And just, again, someone who, when her back is against the wall, she goes out and performs. Didn't win that last event, but did enough to get herself back on top of the overall leaderboard.
Here's what I love about Tia-Clair Toomey is that when we're looking at this year specifically, these athletes don't know very much. There's a very different CrossFit Games than what they're used to, and so mentally that can really grate on a lot of these athletes, but it doesn't grate on Tia-Clair Toomey. She's so confident in her abilities and what she's able to do. She knows that if she has a little hiccup like that 2nd event yesterday, it's not a big deal. She can easily recover from it. And I think that her regaining that jersey just shows what a steady athlete she is. Again, not physically, but mentally. She can handle the pressure of this weekend.
We are done overlooking Kristen Holton. She is in 2nd place.
We have taken a bow, all of us.
Why is she's someone we always just kind of, oh yeah, she's absolutely there, but let's get into that a little bit in more detail. What makes her so good?
It's an incredibly quiet performance that happens, right? It's consistency that she has displayed over all sorts of events. This is her 6th CrossFit Games in the last 2 years. She's had her best finishes of 7th and 7th. And similar to Tia, in just a more quiet fashion, I think she is incredibly mentally tough. She doesn't wear anything on her sleeve. She just kind of continues from event to event to event, no matter what happens, does her best, and always winds up with the top ladies out on the field.
And right now, staring at her best career finish, currently in 2nd place and unofficially only by 2 points. We've got to wait for all the official scoring to shake out, but that's what it looks like right now, is that Kristen Holton is in 2nd behind Tia Toomey, and Carrie Pierce drops to 3rd. We've had a couple of events for the teams. We've had one event for the individuals. What stood out the most to you really fast today so far?
I'm going to go with Annie T. After her day one and how well she looked yesterday, to see her having to walk on that ruck run and kind of have her hands on her knees at one point. Again, she didn't look nearly as bad as she did on Murph, but considering what happened for her on day one, it just wasn't the Annie I wanted to see on the first event today.
I think one of the things that's standing out to me again is the further we go along in the competition, the more recognizable names are slowly creeping towards the top of that cut line, not only in the top 5, top 10, as we just can kind of continue to march through the week.
Yeah, how about you, Chase?
The thing I like to see is what the leaders are doing with the unknown. And I think for me, and it's not just that, Matt's great, Tia's great, and these names are starting to come up, but the cuts are one thing to shake the leaderboard up, but the pressure of the unknown and unknowable, to me, it's a testament to a lot of these athletes' preparation. Right? And you have veterans coming in, not just of regionals and games, but veterans of the sport over the last decade. Right? And the top names are rising because as things trickle down the line, the preparation that a lot of these athletes are going is kind of being showcased in terms of it's not just about your skill level and athleticism, but your preparation for the games.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with individual event 4 as the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games on the Rogue Iron Game continue.